Om Sadashivasamarambham Shankaracharya Madhyamam Asmadacharya Paryantam Vande Guru Paramparam. Now, last time's recording, okay? I think the whole recording didn't come out, okay? I put up whatever has come out. And there was one question that came here from Prashant, okay? You mentioned that jati refers to groups and not caste, which was a construct of the Britishers. But was there discrimination practiced even before the Europeans came between the jatis as to who is superior and inferior, thereby denying certain things for certain communities? There was a jati dharma. It was not based on superiority, inferiority. Like a Kshatriya couldn't do certain Brahmana karmas because he is not trained for it. There is one astrologer, I just saw this thing on him. Now he is promoting that everyone can do a homa, what you will call in North India as a havan. Are you qualified for it? Have you gone through the discipline of learning, the discipline of japa, meditation, etc. necessary? If you do that, you are fine. Like a Kshatriya also can't do a Vaishya karma, trading, to start a business, because that is not his dharma. So it was not based on superiority, inferiority. It was based on jati dharma. Okay, what is your dharma in keeping with your jati, your group that you belong to? Okay, if you are a Kshatriya, be a Kshatriya. If a Kshatriya becomes a business person, he will become a mercenary. And mercenaries were not looked up upon as someone great in any society, including today's. It doesn't have the same respect. Yeah. So, your jati on basis of certain profession, etc. So, some people felt superior about their profession, some people felt, that's a different thing, that's the individual variation that comes in. Okay. What you see today, for example, two things we see today in the last 100 years, if you say. One, the feeling of Brahminical superiority. That came because the Brahmins were naturally educated. So, it was easier for them to get jobs under the British times. And the others were looked down upon. So the anti-Brahminical movement also came up, whether it is communists or Dravida Kazhagam, etc. in South, or various places have their own movements. So all this was sort of a response that happened in the last few hundred years. Traditionally speaking, in fact, on the battlefield very often, Drona was referred to as Dvijaha, Brahmana. What is he doing here like? It's a Brahmana. He is supposed to be doing puja part. What is he doing with bows and arrows? Though he was one of the greatest warriors of the time. Almost every hero on the battlefield has sometimes sat through his class. If not the entire duration, at least some period. Specialization with him. So, there were cases where people felt superior or inferior. But that was not an organized, systematic thing. It was something that came up individually. That would have been always there. Yeah. I mean, don't you feel today's world, some doctors playing God. Some doctors are very nice, good people. Some doctors play God. I mean, that is there in today's world also. Yeah. Yeah. So, that is individual. Individually it was there, but systematic, this, no. Okay, yeah. So, that's how that came. Yeah?
But we have heard stories about even before the Britishers came, like where some communities were like, denied entries into the temple and all that, like at least in
Yeah.
one of the, group of Nayanmars we have, the
Yeah.
Nanganar,
Yeah.
who we will study that, he was not allowed to enter the Chidambaram temple, and then so that was
Yeah.
definitely before the,
Yeah. So individual cases were there. I'm not denying individual cases, but that's not organized, systematic. Forget that. There is a temple now where in Chembur where the RNA complex is. So it's actually two temples. Okay. One on the right hand side, which has Ganapati, Anjaneya, Dattatreya. That's got one priest. On this side is Lord Shiva, again Vinayagar, Devi. The guy on this side, the priest, is very arrogant and disrespectful to everyone. Again, individuals. If some priest behaved, a bunch of priests behaved like that, it was not an organized thing. Yes, there were a group of people who were considered mlechas or outcasts. Okay? Lived in burial grounds, hunting, So their dress and culture was very gross. So people kept them away from temples. You can't, with a blood-stained dress, come into the temple. A temple is a sanctified place. So with a blood-stained dress, you can't come. Or dirty, this, that, no, without a bath. I mean, I go for a walk in the morning, I pass the temple, I salute the Lord from outside. Why? I've gone for a walk, I have not had my bath, I don't go inside. So those are self-imposed, or if they were not self-imposed, the organizers or the priest imposed that on the people. So those type of things were there. Yeah. Otherwise, yeah. And remember, the temple culture started around Mahabharata time. Before that, it was all Vedic. So there was no temple. Before that, there was no temple. Yeah. And all the Nayamars, Andals, everything, all of them are given pride of possession places in the temples. Their murtis and all are put up in the temples. Yeah. So as a whole, it is accepted. Individual cases, individual variations always happened. That happens today as well. Yeah. Today, exclusive entrance into clubs, no? More than temples, clubs are discriminatory. Yeah. There is a club in Bombay where an Indian cannot be an office bearer. 70 years after independence, there is a club in Bombay where Indians cannot be office bearers. Bridge Candy Club. Why? Because it was started for the expats. वो जमाना गया, it's gone. But certain things are continuing. Certain things continue. So this type of distortions you will find in every culture, every society. It is there. Yeah. True, in Vedic culture, only some people are authorized to conduct rituals, which is true today also. No? If you are qualified to do it, if you are trained to do it, you will do it. No computer IT setup is going to allow me to come and touch their computers. Why? Beyond being on a laptop and sending an email or Zoom, I don't know anything more than this. I am not qualified. So can you say that is a discrimination? You are not qualified. You are not trained in the setup. Don't do it. Yeah. Because you are not trained in it. You are not qualified in it. Now nobody says, this is the interesting thing. I am a Shudra by profession, but I want to go on the battlefield. Nobody will say that. I want to do the Brahmana karma. But will they ever say, I want to go in the battlefield and want to fight a battle? He knows the consequences are too dangerous. He doesn't know. He is not trained for war. Therefore, he is not qualified. Qualified means what? Are you trained in that profession? That is a qualification. Your birth is not a qualification. Later on in the Gita, he says that guna karma vibhagayoh, on the basis of gunas, your internal qualities, and karma, the actions that you do, the profession that you have chosen. The varna system is based on that, not janma. Later on it became janma, that's a different thing, by practice. Yeah. Why? Because people followed the father's profession. It became a norm. But even if you followed the father's profession, many doctors' children become doctors. But they still have to go through medical school. No? Can they become a doctor without going through medical school? Yeah. No, I am not doing surgeries, etc. I am doing simple treatments. Can he say that? He will be put behind the bars. Can you call it discriminatory? No, but he has gone, studied and things, fine, then he's a doctor, okay. So because as a norm people followed. Yeah, later on distortions took place. Last 400, 500 years, yes, distortions had taken place and it is everyone considers it by birth. But that's not how it was. That is not how it was. Guna and karma, not by birth. Yeah. In fact, Manu says that Jayate tu Shudraha. You are born a Shudra, everyone. Karmanaha Dvijaha. By karma you become whatever you want to do. Yeah. Whatever, by karma. Yeah. So there has been distortions, correct? In fact, today's what goes by the name of Indian culture is not Indian culture of the Veda or the Indian culture of the Mahabharata times. No, it is not. None of us are doing it. Yeah. Yeah. So, this is how it came about. Okay, yeah. So, there is a degeneration. In fact, this is exactly what Arjuna talked about when he said Varna Sangraha, a mixing up and a breakdown of the societal structure. And it happened. If it had not happened, the other things would have been worse. That's a different thing. Adharma ruling is worse. So, out of the two evils, he was forced to choose the lesser evil. Yeah. But society breakup, etc. happens, then you rebuild. So sometimes it may not be as good as the original. Yeah, it happens. That is why in Indian thinking, the evolution of culture, human beings, society is cyclical. Because everything in nature is cyclical. The seasons, they are cyclical. It's not linear. So you have Satya Yuga, the best of the yugas. Dwapara, Treta, Dwapara, Kali. Then back into Satya. So it is a cyclical evaluation. So we are going through the worst period, actually speaking. I mean, not at the peak of the worst period, but still worst period. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah?
So, when you say Varna system was not hereditary, are there instances of, let's say, a king's plan producing a son who became, let's say, a Brahmana or a Shudra?
Yeah. There are plenty of cases where people have changed their varnas. Plenty of cases. Yeah, like Drona is the most obvious example. The best example of a Shudra becoming a Rishi or a Muni is Vyasa himself. Yeah. Vyasa is what do you call, son of a rishi, an illegitimate son of a rishi and a fisherwoman. And he was an illegitimate child, born out of wedlock. But is revered as the guru of gurus. Yeah, he's revered as guru of gurus. Yeah. In fact, July, Vyasa Purnima, Guru Purnima, is his birthday. His birthday is celebrated as Guru Purnima. We'll have a small celebration, okay, in Sion or somewhere where everyone can come. Yeah. So, you have cases like that also. Drona, Brahmana, became a Kshatriya, literally. Yeah. So there are plenty of cases like that. In fact, if you look at the teacher's parampara given in the Gita later, 4th chapter, we'll come to it. He says, all the kings got it first before the rishis got it, in one parampara. The Lord taught it to the kings, and the rishis learned from the kings. So, especially when it came to knowing the truth, there is absolutely no varna, ashrama, etc. doesn't exist. You are knowing the truth. What is here matters, nothing else matters. Birth, this, that, etc. doesn't matter. Yeah. Though it's unfortunate that in today's society, some people do carry on that forward. Even some sadhus do the same thing. Like there was a funny incident. I was coming back from Rishikesh, somewhere by flight I was coming back. So, I had to pick up my bag. I went to the bathroom, came out. I found this Dandi Swamin. You know the Swamis who carry the Dandis. Dandi Swamis, they keep the Danda because they still have some rights, responsibilities, etc. to be done. That's why they keep them. Whereas people like us are Paramahamsas, we put the Danda also into the Ganga when we take sannyasa. We all are given a Danda, but the Danda is dropped. We are free. Now, this guy is waiting outside the bathroom. I said, so I looked at him, he wanted some help. It's very obvious. I said, Maharaji, you want some help? I don't want to take the Danda inside the bathroom. Can you hold it for me? I said, yeah, sure, I'll hold it. So I held it, waited outside. I came, I gave it back to him, picked up my bag and walked away. 2 days later, I meet him at Shankaramatam, Matanga. And he says, Maharaji, is there any place to stay in Bombay? I said, for sadhus, yeah. Villa Parle Sannyas Ashram is there. Prempuri Ashram in town. Or Ghatkopar also there is Rajavadi, there is Villa Sannyas Ashram. They happily accommodate sadhus. उधर ब्राह्मण कुक होता है क्या? Normally I would have been a little bit more tough, but it is Shankaramatam and place like that, so I also was a bit. I said, why are you taking a Brahmana and making him do Shudra Karma? Because Paricharyatmakam Karma, Shudra Karma. When you are serving others, it's called Shudra Karma. And making him a cook. I said, Poor guy didn't know what to say, what to look, what to know. And I left him. I don't want to push it too much. Because it is true. Yeah, I can understand where it came from. It came from the concept of whether you are going to a Ram Bharose Hindu hotel or you are going to a halal place. Because if they are serving halal, technically speaking, everyone doesn't do it, but some do. Technically speaking, after cooking, you have to spit on the food. Spitting is considered a form of blessing. Where it came from the desert lands, where water was given high priority. If you don't have water, you will die. If you are sharing the water of your system with the food. So that's how it came about. It came with a good idea, but the practice is pathetic. I wouldn't like to. I have no problems with eating with Muslims, but I wouldn't want to eat a food like that. I don't mind eating in the same plate, the large Festive means I don't mind. As long as my food is vegetarian, I am happy with that. I will eat with that. I have done that also. But a food that is packed on, sorry. So that's how all these things came up, okay? Then it went to bit extremes. Yeah, then it came to extremes. I'm just talking of some of the practices so that we don't carry this inside us when we are studying the Gita. Then another thing that I went through a little bit fast last time was the way the idea in Arjuna's mind develops. It started with a purely personal issue. How will I kill my kith and kin? Purely personal. Okay. I mean, we have in-law issues and everything, but not to that extent. I want to go and kill somebody. Okay. Though there may be times I accept when you feel like that. Okay. But these are normal things. We are not confronted with that. Then, from the question of how to kill my own people, it went to the question of dharma, dharma. It's a battle where all the dharmis will be killed. All the people who practice dharma is killed. Then who is going to live dharma? And if dharma is not lived, dharma is lost. That's why I said last time elaborately about jati dharma, kula dharma, personal dharma. All that goes out of the window. Then it came to even dharma. What is dharma meant for? Your growth. What is dharma meant for? Two things. At the social level, so that you have a society of law and order, more or less. Okay. We can relate with each other with certain basic trust. And the personal level to grow. Following dharma makes one grow. What is growth meant for? I mean, growth for growth's sake. If it is growth for growth's sake, then you become a cancerous cell. Because a cancerous cell grows for the sake of growth only, nothing else. Nothing is achieved by the cancerous cell except growth. Yeah. Any doctor in the group, they will confirm this. Cancerous cells keep growing, keep growing. What is the purpose of it? See, when a liver cell grows, it becomes a nice, good liver, healthy liver. That's a function and purpose. So the growth is meant for that purpose. But a cancerous cell, growth for what? And to grow. Yeah. So what is growth meant for? Growth is meant for so that you find that satisfaction within you. The sense of fullness, fulfillment that a human being wants. It's a jump in Arjuna's mind, but a rational jump. A jump based on the culture he has been exposed to. Yeah. Because he has been exposed to the Indian culture of things. Yeah. That's why he uses the word like Shreyas. The word Shreyas has not come in the Gita or used by Krishna before this. Before Arjuna uses it. Shreyas means moksha. Bhaikshyam is a lifestyle for that. Yeah. Sannyasa lifestyle. Because why? Sannyasa lifestyle is a lifestyle committed to moksha, nothing else. Whereas other lifestyles have moksha as one part of it. One part of the other things. Here only moksha. Therefore, Arjuna mentally is making that jump. He's saying, what am I doing? I had not thought about it before. Karpanya doshaha. Miserly I have been in my thinking. I mean, I thought enough for my profession. I thought enough in terms of my relationships. I thought enough as far as stockpiling weapons, etc. But I have not thought enough in terms of what is my ultimate purpose in life. What's my ultimate goal in life? May not be immediate, but what is my ultimate goal? I have not thought about it. Therefore, I have been miserly in my thinking. And of course, going by Manu's definition, one who leaves this earth without knowing the truth is considered a miser. You know, it's like the joke we used to have. The cost of different types of brains. And one brain was the costliest. Why? It has never been used from birth onwards. So similarly, this brain was meant to know the truth. You knew everything else but the truth. It is meant for your fulfillment. Why do you want to know the truth? See, remember, knowing the truth in the Gita or in Vedanta is a value-based pursuit. What is the value? Your desire for your satisfaction, your sense of fullness. That's what it is meant for. It is not an academic pursuit. Yeah. You're not. Supposing I give you all a certificate, attended a 3-year Gita course. You think it'll help you find a job better? A better job? You think it'll help you get admission to college if you are young? It's not going to. It's not meant for any of those things. Yeah. It will not help you get a job as a priest also, because priestly qualifications are different, not the Gita. Priests don't know anything about the Gita. Yeah. So it's not meant for any of those things. It is meant for you being a fulfilled human being. And Arjuna on the battlefield, this is what I want out of life. I have been doing a lot of things. I have achieved a lot. I mean, who has achieved what Arjuna has achieved? Permanent multiple entry visa to heaven. Okay. Yeah. Among the warriors, known as one of the great military strategists. Okay. Much married man. A lot of women looked up to him. Yeah. Admired him, hero worshipped him. On one side, a great warrior. On the other side, dance, music, well accomplished. That's why he could disguise himself as Brihannala, and teach the princess dance and music. A man of accomplishment. Yeah. Arjuna was a person who, he walked into any kingdom and demanded half the kingdom, he would have got it without a fight. Yeah, he would have got it. When Drupada heard that the Brahmana who won the Swayamvara and his daughter is going to be married to Arjuna, he was the most happiest person on earth. Why? What a warrior son-in-law I have. My kingdom is safe. This was Arjuna. But he said, my heart is still empty. Forget this whole earth. Make me the ruler of heaven and earth, all the 3 kingdoms. My heart will still be empty. Because I feel a sense of finitude. I am a finite being. So a finite being plus a series of finite results, finite add-ons, is not going to become infinite. I am still going to remain finite. Heart is not going to get fulfilled. Temporary fulfillment I will have. That's a different thing. We all had done that, no? Lord, give me this, I won't ask for anything else. And let us say the Lord gave it to you. You got it. How long before the next desire came up? Few days. Few months means you are a great guy. It's bound to be like that. That is human mind. Human heart is not fulfilled. Therefore, the problem is not with what I have. The problem is with what I am. That I am a finite being is the problem. This finitude I want to get rid of. If finitude, remember this argument is important. If finitude is my natural state, I will not try to get rid of it. You always try to get rid of something that is unnatural for you, to you. Something that is alien. Look at your eye socket. Such a big eyeball is inside. You're very comfortable. No? One speck of dust goes in, what happens? Come on, yaar. Hindus are naturally tolerant. Why are you not being tolerant of that one speck of dust? One smaller. Can you do that? Even Gandhiji wouldn't have done that. He put up with a lot of nonsense, but even he wouldn't do that. Why? Because alien to you, you have to reject it. How many millions of WBC, RBC, etc. are floating around in your blood? Few more viruses, come on yaar. Few. There's place for it in your bloodstream. But your body will fight, you'll develop fever, this, that, all that fighting the virus. You reject what is alien to you. So what do you reject? Unhappiness or happiness? Fulfillment or unfulfillment? That means what? Non-fulfillment, unhappiness is alien to your nature. That's why you're rejecting it. That means what should be your nature? Fulfillment. Hell, then why am I seeking it? If fulfillment is my nature, why am I seeking it? My dharma sammuda chetaha karpanya dosha upahata svabhava prichhami tvam dharma sammuda cheta. All confused I am. Therefore there is something about myself I want to know clearly. Sishyasteham shadimam tvam prapannaha. I am your Sishya. Accept me or reject me, that's your choice. But I am your Sishya. Because naturally Arjuna cannot say, you are my Guru. That's for the Guru to say, I am your Guru or not. I am your Sishya, he can say. And Arjuna says that I am your Sishya. Now you decide. Therefore, what will give me Shreyas? Nishchitam tan bruhitan. Very well, clear cut, tell me. What will give me that fulfillment? I will do it. Killing others? Yes. Killing myself? Yes. I want Shreyas. Prove it to me that this will give me Shreyas. I will do it. With that, he sat at the back of the chariot. Okay. He sits. Okay. Then Sanjaya takes up the narrative. Sanjaya vacha evam uktva hrishikesham gudakeshah parantapah na yotse iti govindam uktva tushnim babuvaha. Sanjaya vacha. Sanjaya says, what is that? Evam uktva hrishikeshah. To Hrishikesha, having said this much. Who said it? Gudakesha. Gudam Kesham Yasya. One who has tied up his hair. Okay. Why? Battle, I can't afford it falling into your eyes, etc. For Gudakesha. Hey Gudakesha. Parantapaha. Paran Shatrun Tapyatiti. One who can burn up his enemies. Okay, that way. Na yotsya iti govindam. Hey Govinda, I'm not going to fight. Uktva tushnim babuvate. Having said that, tushnim babuva, he sat down. Literally collapsed on the seat. I can't do anything. So then what did Krishna do then? Now Krishna has a job in hand, okay? He says, Tamuvacha Hrishikeshaha Prahasanniva Bharata Senayor Ubhayor Madhye Vishidantamidam Vachaha. Tam Vishidantam. Tam Arjunam. Who's Vishidantam? Overcome with compassion, sorrow. Idam Vachaha. These words, Uvacha. Prahasanniva Bharata. With a smile on his lips. Where? Senayor Ubhayor Madhye, between the two armies, with a smile. He started teaching with a smile. Why? Beta, abhi line mein aa gaya na. I was waiting, when will this happen? I knew you wanted to know the truth. I knew that you are capable of it. Now we are come in line. Now when I studied the Gita, it didn't matter to me whether Krishna taught in the battlefield or elsewhere or time tha, nahi tha. I didn't even bother to think about it. But was it possible for Krishna to teach on the battlefield? Noises outside, we get disturbed. Martial music is on drums, and what martial music is not like Rabindra Sangeet or Hindustani classical or Carnatic. It is racket. Drums and bugles and things like that. It puts you in a very different mood also. Once you listen to that music on a regular basis, you will sleep in other music. God says, I'm telling you from experience. I'll sleep. Yeah. Anyway, but I discovered the answer for that by chance. I was in the ashram, and some of my friends would come and listen to Swamiji's talks, Off and on they would come. So once Swamiji was out for 2 days and he sent me for some work into town. So I went into town, finished that work, and then I was already had standing orders from Swamiji that whenever you get the time, spend some time at your home also. Because you are the only son, your people are very upset that you have walked off like this. Spend some time. I said, okay, no problem. No issue at all. So I said, okay, from there I'll go back to Chambur. So I was walking up to I said, should I take a bus or should I take a train? Train is faster, but it's packed, evening time. So as I was walking down, I met a friend. A young lady, she is now a teacher of Vedanta, okay? So this young lady, her name was Revati. She was doing her master's at the Institute of Science at that time. Hey, you are here. What are you doing here? I said, I'm going to Chambur. Come, let's go together. So when youngsters travel by Bombay BST bus those days, what is the favorite seat, Huh? Right on the top, yes, front. Right on the front, top, front. The whole bus is behind you, you are undisturbed. So you sat there. And you get nice breeze from the front also. So she said, hey, 2 classes I have not come. What did Swamiji say last week? In fact, whole of last week I have not come. What did Swamiji say? Explain it to me. So I'm coming tomorrow. I want to catch up. So I said, okay, this is elaborately I explained. So by the time I finished the explanation, we had already reached Sion. I said, okay, that's great. Tomorrow I can come and catch up. Then someone tapped me from the back. Sir, I have to tell you something. So you cleared one of my doubts. I said, Bombay bus mein you are meeting someone who knows Vedanta and whose doubts are cleared by what I was telling somebody else? Ye to bada baat hai. I said, really? Are you a student of Vedanta? Anything like that? No, I don't know anything about it. But I always had this doubt. Could Krishna have taught Gita to Arjuna on the battlefield? Looking at you explaining Vedanta to a young lady, a young man is explaining to a young lady the Gita in a Bombay bus. I'm sure Krishna would have taught it. I said, good one. I should tell the story. So every time I teach the Gita, I tell the story. So that part of doubt will not be asked, okay?
So I had the same question.
Yeah.
More related.
Yeah.
Typically, to understand Gita,
Yeah.
you take
Yeah.
2-3 years.
Yeah.
Family you take
Yeah.
60, 70 sessions, more than that.
So,
There was a time when there was there in the middle of the battlefield.
Correct.
For Arjuna to ask questions.
yeah.
Understand
That's a good question. The time period. Now, if you're going to chant the Gita end to end, it will take you about 3 hours. Okay, that's all. That means if every verse was between Krishna and Arjuna, it would have taken 3 hours. There is also a view among the scholars that Krishna did not have to teach the whole thing. Krishna taught only this full second chapter. Everything after that is Vyasa's elaboration. So scholars take it like that because you find every idea that is mentioned in the second chapter elaborated over the next 16 chapters. So that for Arjuna, second chapter was enough. I am specifying for Arjuna. You know why I am specifying? Because once I was taking a class for a group of youngsters. Youngsters. So their grandmother sat in the class. Very well-known personality. In fact, there's a chowk in South Bombay named after her husband and all, who was the director of Tatas and everything. So, she said, Swamiji, what is the minimum I must know? It's a very sincere question. I answered sincerely. Second chapter, minimum. So I finished the second chapter one day. This was a morning class. Had a cup of coffee with her. Came back home. Within a few minutes, I get a phone call from her daughter. You know, Swamiji, what happened? My mother reached home, collapsed and died. She was waiting for you to finish the second chapter. So nowadays I specify for Arjuna second chapter. Okay. I don't want anyone collapsing after that. You live and learn, you know. So for Arjuna second chapter was enough. For all of us we need the whole Gita plus some. So this is what the traditional, scholarly standard.
In the middle of the whole, that is when he shows his Virat Rupa.
Yeah.
So
all that is Vyasa's elaboration. That is what scholars believe. Because the idea is there in the second chapter. I will show, whenever I go third, fourth, fifth chapters, I will show you what ideas are being elaborated. That idea has already come in the second chapter. People think 18th chapter is the summary. 18th chapter is not the summary. Second chapter is the summary of the whole Gita. Every idea is elaborated afterwards over a bigger canvas so that we can understand it. Yeah. So it's a beautiful text. Beg your pardon? That's what they say. I mean, as traditionalists, we'll accept it. Yeah. Because 3 hours, whole Gita. Okay, ho gaya, 3 ghanta mein. Battle can wait 3 hours, no? I mean, a battle can wait. Yeah. Rain, stop, play. 3 hours, no game. No ball is bowled. Hota hai na? So battles also those days were like that. Start at sunrise, end at sunset. So in those conditions, until Arjuna and Krishna moves out of there, the battle will not start. They are all ready, but don't start. No shot will be fired as long as these two are there. Yeah. So, that way. Yeah. Okay. Then what did Krishna do? Okay, Prahasanava Bharata. With a smile on his face, he started teaching. So the real Gita, the teaching of the Gita starts with the 11th verse. Up to this 10th verse, up to and including the 10th verse of the second chapter is background. Showing what is the problem that is being dealt with in the Gita. It is purely a moksha shastra, a shastra dealing with moksha. Yes, it teaches you how to live with life. It teaches you something about dharma. It will teach you about karma yoga, sannyasa, etc. It will talk about values, ethics, etc. But all that is a pyramid structure meant for moksha. If Gita was only a dharma shastra, we would have studied it along with Manu, Yajnavalkya, etc. But we are not. We are studying it along with the Upanishads. So it's definitely a moksha shastra meant for that. So what did Krishna teach? Here it is. Sri Bhagavan Uvacha Ashocha Nanvashochastvam Prajnavadansa Bhashase Gatasun Agutasuncha Nanusochanti Panditaha. Sri Bhagavan Uvacha. Krishna Bhagavan. Always, Vyasa, for Vyasa, Krishna was always Bhagavan. Now, Krishna was a historical figure. Whether you accept him as Bhagavan or not is your choice. I do. But whether you want to accept it or not is your choice. But the standpoint in the Gita is from Ishvara's standpoint, from Bhagavan's standpoint. Whenever Krishna speaks, it is from the standpoint of Bhagavan, has to be taken that way. Because with the discovery of Dwaraka underwater, bed Dwaraka, Pandas used to always say, na, go out in a boat, offer flowers here. Here is the original Dwarkadish temple. The Pandas used to say. Somebody did underwater excavation, found it. Yeah?
2 years back.
Yeah.
But the local people over there were brushing it aside that there is nothing like that.
Because a lot of the local boat and this thing are now taken over by Muslims.
No.
They will not want to take
Our own.
it. Modi went underwater in submarine. Yeah. And they are going to start a submarine service to go there. The Gujarat government has started that. Is going to start it, is not yet. They are in talks with to build the submarine. Because these are not heavy duty submarines, because only about 300 meters down. 300 meters is no big deal. Submarines are built for 10,000 meters. This is only, 300 meters. So, they are going to start that. So, it's a fact. So, Krishna has become a historical figure now. But in the vision of the Mahabharata, the way it is presented, Krishna is presented as Bhagavan. So, for the sake of the Gita at least, you have to accept the standpoint of Ishvara, and the standpoint of Krishna is one and the same. He talks as Ishvara, Bhagavan. So, when he says I, etc., it is not an egoistical person speaking. It is from the standpoint of Ishvara speaking. Yeah. All right. So, what did he say? Ashocyan anvashochaha tvam. You are grieving over things that does not deserve grief. In fact, there is no room for grief in your life. You are grieving over things that do not deserve grief. At the same time, prajnavadamscha bhashase. You are speaking words of wisdom. Dharma, all that. Both are not compatible. In Indian thinking, if you are a wise person, you are free from grief. Grief means that over this thing, okay? And therefore he says, why? Gatasun agatasunshcha. Gatasun, the people are dead and gone. Agatasun, not yet dead and gone. Queue mein hai, Qatar mein hai ab. Okay. We all are in queue, na? We think there is a line. We think there is a queue. It's like in the Bombay bus queue. There is a queue, everyone standing in line. But when the bus comes, the first person inside the bus is not necessarily the first person in the queue. Typical Bombay. Same way with death. There seems to be a queue, older people first, younger people later, etc., etc. But when death comes, you don't know who gets inside the bus. Yeah. I know because I have dealt with so many parents who have lost their children, etc. It's one of the most difficult things to do. But he says, Gatasun, those who are gone, Agatasun, not yet gone. Okay. Na anushochanti panditaha. The wise does not grieve over them. Your heartless character's wisdom. If you are wise, you are heartless. Was Krishna heartless at any time in his life? Never. He was loving, he was compassionate. He would give of himself to anyone who came. He would give promises. Left, right and center, sometimes to opposing sides he would give promises. You will be successful, you will be successful. Now how to fulfill all this? He did it. He managed it. Yeah. Two sisters. One of them was Duryodhana's wife. The other one wanted Bhima to come for a Swayamvara. Bhanumati. Now, both of them go to Krishna. Bhanumati, the Duryodhana's wife, says, make my husband the king now. He wants it so long. She's a very innocent girl. Ho jayega. Then her sister comes. I want Bhima to come for my Swayamvara. Now Bhima can go for my Swayamvara only if he is a prince. For that, at least his brother has to be crowned king. So both people, Krishna says yes. And he keeps the promise, okay? Both of them works out. Indraprastha and Hastinapura works out. So left, right? He was compassionate man. But he is saying, Na anusochanti pandita. Death is not a matter for grieving. Death is not a matter for grieving. Okay, how do you say that? Simple, he says. Why? Because here it is. Natve aham jatu nasam natvam nema me janadipaha nachaiva bhavishyamaha sarvai vayamatah param natu aham eva natu eva aham na asam meaning not there. Never a time when I was not there. Never a time when आप तो भगवान है. न त्वम nor you, न इमे जनाधिपाः, nor all these kings. Okay. न चैव न भविष्यामः, nor will be there a time when they are not there. That means they'll always be there. Sarve vayamatah param. They're all always there. Okay. That means what? He is introducing the topic of Vedanta. What is it? What is that? There is neither birth nor death. That's the topic that's being introduced. That there is neither birth nor death. That's what you have to discover. He is just introducing the topic. He has not explained the topic. He has only made a statement of intention. This is what I am going to teach you about. In what way is it connected with my fulfillment? Birth and death are used as lakshanas for your sense of finitude. Why? In both you are helpless. Nobody gave you a choice when to be born or not. Karma took care of it. Nobody is going to give you a choice when death comes. Though there is a saying in Hindi, na, marne ko bhi fursat nahi hai. Hindi mein there is a statement like that, marne ko bhi fursat nahi. Don't worry, when death comes up, fursat ho jayega. Now our experience is birth and death. Krishna is saying there is no birth and death. That's a statement. So this has to be. So since birth and death indicates your helplessness, your total helplessness, no choice. Okay? No choice. If you dismiss birth and death, your sense of limitation is gone. So it's a technical presentation. If you dismiss your birth and dismiss your death, problem solved. You are no more a finite being. You don't have a sense of limitation of time. And if you are unlimited in time, you are unlimited space-wise also, isn't it? In fact, I don't have to prove that. Stephen Hawking has already proved that in his book, Brief History of Time. If you can read the first 2 chapters of that, you will understand it very well. Forget 2 chapters. Read first 1.5 chapters, enough. Whole book, unless you have a good science background, you find it difficult. Yeah. Put it in simple matters. Can you think of now without here? Or then without space? I saw that person then. Then? Where? Will come into your mind. So time-space continuum is one. So you dismiss one, you dismiss the other. That's why in the Shastra you will never find time and space, rarely find time and space mentioned together. If one is there, it is understood, the other is also there. If one is dismissed, it is understood, the other is also dismissed. So now this question you can handle from 2 standpoints. One from an experiential standpoint and one from the standpoint of the truth. Okay? What is an experiential standpoint? taking into account that you experience birth and death. All of us have seen, we may not remember our birth. I'm sure we'll remember our death. Okay. Because after death, people have come and talk to me also. I said, "See, no, Swamiji, I'm not really dead, I'm here, you know." I said, "What was it teaching you all these years?" All these years I was teaching you, you had to have that experience before you can come and tell me about it. Everyone has not told me. One or two characters I managed to come back and of course. So experientially you can talk in terms of that, of you surviving your birth and death. Surviving before your birth, surviving after death. So that's the experiential. Other is from the standpoint of the reality of what the I is. What the I really is, whether that I is conditioned by time or space. So two standpoints. Okay. So Krishna starts with the first one, experiential one. Okay. Can look at that and then see the details later. Dehinosmin yata dehe kaumaram yauvanam jara tata deha antara praptihi dhiraha tatra na mukhyati. Asmin dehe, dehi no asmin, in this deha. How you experience kaumaram yauvanam jara? जब मैं बिल्कुल बच्चा था, बहुत शरारत करता था, क्या रंगीन जवानी था, एक राजा और एक रानी. अब तो बिल्कुल बूढ़ा हूँ, गोली खाकर जीता हूँ. You remember all that? There was a advertising jingle like that, no? Bajaj lights, Bajaj bulb, Bajaj bulb. Yeah. Correct. Kaumaram, Yauvanam, Jara. You remember, no? But you are the same person, no? That's why you meet someone after a year and they tell you, "Hey, you changed a lot." Not really. What is your first response? Not really. Then you'll say, "No, I had a different hairstyle." Something you have to say, "I lost some weight or put on some weight." Kuch na kuch bolna padega. You will have to say something. But your first response will be what? Not really. There is nothing like an old mind. There can be a tired mind. There can be a non-enthusiastic mind. Beaten down by the challenges of life, you are not enthusiastic. But is there an old mind? No, old mind. Very interesting to see those who are, if a child, a teenager, sees his parents with their age group, with the parents' age group. Yeah, they're cracking jokes and all, just like us here. It's true. I mean, all of you older people here, when you meet with your own batchmates, etc., what type of jokes you crack? You don't know. Yeah. Then you remember, "Oh, no, I am supposed to be older." Kaumaram, Yauvanam, Jara is the same. Similarly, Dehantara Prapti he says. The thing is extended to another life. Yeah, because what changes is the body. Correct? You as an entity remaining the same. Old age is for the body. There can be a mature mind. There can be a tired mind. There is no old mind. People say he's an old soul. That means if you are inclined spiritually, you are an old soul. Huh? Old soul in a young body. They are all poetic expressions. Poets are dreamers. It's not factual. Yeah. We are all old souls. From beginningless time, we have been taking birth and death and coming along. So, what changes is the body, etc. How do you say you are old? अरे यार, बाल देखो ना, सब पिघल गए. All has become white, beard has become white. What I could do at 25, I can't do now. Correct. For all of us, this is true, even for me. What I could do at 25, I can't do now. So what are the reference for your age, by the way? Body. Are you aware of it? The body has gone through all this. अरे उस जमाने में आधा किलो जलेबी खा लेता था, अभी 2 जलेबी खाने से पेट दुखता है. Body is a reference point, isn't it? Not always. I remember a couple of years back I went to someone's wedding and the girl's grandfather is there. Tough old man. I'm saying, भाई हम 20 गुलाब जामुन खाया है, आप हमारे से जवान हैं, आप ज़्यादा खाना चाहिए. I'm not joking. He's 80-year-old and he has eaten 20 gulab jamun. I said, I'll eat 2 and 1 extra because of you. Not more than that. Reference point of aging is body alone. You are aware of the whole thing. Therefore, this body now, I can't take care of it further. It's beyond repair. Even with all the spare parts and the stents and everything I put on, can't hold it together. Let it go. Get a fresh body. Deha antara praptihi. Therefore, experientially speaking, you survive death, etc. Therefore, you are always there as a jiva. Yeah. Can you prove this logically? No. There is supporting argument for it. There is supporting arguments. The pramana comes from the Shastra alone. The means of knowledge is the Shastra. There is supporting arguments. Past life regression. That I can make you all experience it through past life regression, etc. See your past lives, what you were in a previous lifetime, all that you can do. I don't generally indulge in that unless there is a need. Okay, like some unexplained trauma or something like that. But those things you can see. But the pramana still happens to be the Shastra for it. Okay? But it is logical. It can be understood logically. That life doesn't begin at birth and doesn't end at birth. Yeah. End at death, sorry. Begin at birth and end at death. It doesn't. So there is a period in between, there's a period before, there's a period later. Otherwise, you'll never have the theory of karma coming in. You'll never have any explanation for what's happening into your life unless you accept rebirth. Then why do many religions don't accept it? Because if you accept birth and rebirth, thoda you can get slack over it. No? ठीक है यार, अगला जन्म है ना. This janam, I'll get interested in Vedanta, but moksha and all, I'll wait. One of my friends who is a teacher of Vedanta, younger sister was telling her, I'm not interested in moksha now. I want to come back for 2-3 more lifetimes of having fun. Only then I will get in for moksha. The need for fun is there. Forgetting that moksha means your ananda all the time, whether the experience is there or not. The fulfillment is there. Not realizing that it is there. So all this, your experience of life can be explained only with the idea of rebirth coming in. So it is always there. Yeah, it is true. You will never meet the person in the same form again. Which in many ways is a blessing. Why? The person you have fallen in love with today or you are married with today was your enemy in your last lifetime. How do you deal with that situation? What if your enemy has come as your child? Oh my God. Sometimes it feels like that when you have teenage kids. I know. So, the Lord in His wisdom has given you a forgetfulness. Okay. But this is only the experiential angle. Okay, that this is there. Then he goes ahead. But before he goes to that, he goes a little bit into in terms of what are the qualifications necessary to be able to hold the truth in your mind. That we will see next class. Okay, good place to stop. Om Tat Sat.